Hi and welcome to a cEDH tier list. So this is something I've done in the past and it's an update of 20,025. If you're new to this channel, what I do is that I look at different tournaments like this one and I collect all the deck lists from this tournament and write in how many wins and losses that deck list got and evaluate the win rate of various different commanders. And from that we can place various different commanders in different tier lists. And here I'm going to make it simple. I do know that a lot of people make 5 different ranks to different tier lists. I'm gonna be super clean and just go with this. There's the not recommended group, there's the middle ground, and it's the recommended group. What I mean by this is that if you would ask me on the street or on a game in front of me, just Mons, what are some of the good commanders for tournaments? And this video would basically be that answer. Because truth be told, and I'm going to prove this in this video a little bit, is that the difference between these commanders isn't actually that big. But there are some groups where like, yeah, this is not a recommended commander, this is a middle ground, and this is definitely something if you want to win in a lot of tournaments, this is the commander of choice. If we begin by looking at the not recommended group, it's a pretty big long list. Now, I should also mention that this list, this group, not recommended, is actually enormous. It is probably 10 times bigger than this, and that is because there is an enormous amount of fringe commanders that people bring to tournaments, and they don't have that many games, and they don't have that many wins. You wouldn't believe how many 0-win commanders with only 5 tournament entries that I have in my cEDH dataset. So I'm not adding everything onto this picture, I'm just adding the very common ones. You see, a lot of these commanders you're looking at right now are give and take heavily played. Yuriko up there is actually very played, but still, these guys just don't really get it going, they don't get that many wins, and they overall perform pretty bad. So let's begin by looking at some of them, and if you remembered, the criteria to be in the not recommended group was that your win rate would be around less than 19%. Shorkai, 103 tournament entries, 17.12 win rate. Same thing with Venota, not doing great. Yuriko is extremely heavily played, 569 tournament entries, that's quite a lot, but an average win rate of 16.58, which is bad. Sur the Enchanter, 113 games, also pretty decent amount, 13.73 average win rate, not doing great. Noctis, Prince of Lucius, now it's only 29 tournament entries so far, so that's not that much, but still, he isn't really doing great at the moment. This could change with more games, but I don't think it will be. For now, I am definitely going to put him in the tier list of not recommended for tournaments. Hashaton Scarab's Fist has 227 tournament entries, and that is quite a lot. And the win rate is at 14.88. So this Esper boss is not doing good. There was a lot of hype around him. I even made a prediction that he was going to be great in cEDH, and apparently I was wrong. And that's why I really like this style of making the tier list in this kind of fashion. Literally not my opinion, it's taking the data from tournaments, looking at how various commanders have performed, and see what is the actual true result. And the answer is, if you grab Hashaton Scarab's Fist and you bring that to a tournament, your chance of winning games is around 14.88%. Taking that into account, that is definitely not in a recommended spot. Flubs the Fool, kinda sad, I really like this frog, it's a cool thing, and I made an entire video about Flubs the Fool not being great. Here's a repeat for you, nope, not recommended. Darevi is kinda popular, she really got a boost when the One Ring was printed, because the One Ring in Darevi is pretty good, it's actually really good. However, still, the printing of the One Ring didn't help Darevi enough to push her further up the ranking. She's still running around in like the not recommended area, struggling, and Here we have a lot of games with her, 283, but still the win rate is at 17.66. Not doing good. Shoe Lane, Teller of Tales, 40 games, 14% win rate, not recommended. Here's actually a good example of what people are bringing to tournaments these days. I didn't put this one up there at the list, but I have an enormous amount of various commanders like this. Someone's just gonna go, I'm gonna bring Captain America to a cEDH tournament, and the people that does that are very few, as you can see, and their success is very bad. And that's basically the case why there are very few that actually bring this to a tournament. Here's another example for you. Someone has brought Kite Cage Brawler once to a tournament and didn't win a single game. Breya, on the other hand, has been around for quite some time. She has been pretty high on this list once, but she's dropped drastically. She's not that popular anymore. 53 games is not that much compared to what she usually had. And right now she's sitting at 13.38% win rate. Let me actually showcase that difference. Here you have Breya. This is Breya when Dockside was legal. When Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus was legal. And this is when Dockside was banned. So this is the old, this is the new. And you can see she had a pretty okay... not great still. On the other hand, 18 is still in the not recommended area when I think about it, but it's, as you can see, dropped quite a lot with the ban of Dockside, Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus. Poor Balin. I really hoped Balin would be better. I thought this was a very cool commander and I had some hopes for Naya getting something cool, but yeah, this is not doing good. I want to talk a little bit extra on Nayela the Blade Blossom. So we're kind of going over most of these not recommended commanders quite fast because we shouldn't dwell on them too much. But this one should get some talk. So Nayela currently has 346 tournament entries and a win rate of 19.44, and that's a minus 2.57. So she's actually in the middle ground. Like I said in the beginning of this video, that the middle ground was 19 to 22, and she's above 19. However, she's been dropping quite heavily. So once again, I have the old win rate. This is when the Dockside, Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus was legal. As you can see here, she has an enormous high amount of tournament entries, 1007, and a win rate of 23.03. But with the banning of Dockside, Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus, she's been crashing downwards to 19.44. And that is why I want to place her in the not recommended areas, actually, as a little bit of a future speculation of where she might be heading. It really looks like she's suffered a lot and she's not really working out great anymore. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I'm only showing you the numbers. And even though technically she is in like the middle ground, and you could take this video and say, Mons is incorrect, I think Nayela is in the middle ground, I personally believe that that win rate is going to go down more. I don't know why it's gonna go down more, but it feels like it. Her popularity is definitely far less compared to what it used to be before. So the popularity vote by players is also, instead of playing her a lot like 1007, she's played 346. And this is, by the way, in the same kind of time frame. So the duration of how long these games were collected is the same. Another commander we should look at is Talion the Kindly Lord. I have said before that this commander is not great as a commander. It is pretty good inside the 99, but as you can see, it is definitely in the not recommended spot. It's played quite frequently, 204 games is quite an amount, and it only has a win rate of around 15%, and that's not good. Basically, the verdict is that control decks like Yuriko is struggling, that they don't win fast enough. They control the game, they police the game, but eventually someone else just win. Selvala, Heart of the Wilds, mono green storm commander, not doing great. She's a little bit too commander centric, kill Selvala and then kill Selvala second time, and then Selvala have basically lost the game. she dies to lightning bolts and swords to plowshares and deadly relics and Draenite magistrates. Yeah, she dies to Orcish bowmaster too when I think about it. She dies to everything. Slicer, hired muscle. Yeah, don't play this. That's all I'm going to say. Stella Lee wildcard, however, is something we should talk a little bit more about. She has a very high tournament entry count of 283 with an 18.78 win percent. She is kind of climbing up there towards like the good spot of the middle ground, but she's actually never been there. And she has a lot of games to her, so I think this is truly where she's at in her win rate, so to say. A big problem for her is that she's very telegraphed. She's like Selvala, dies to everything, and once you've killed Stella Lee a few times, then suddenly the entire deck is just bad. Or give and take. Like, there's a Rhetoric study in there, but still. Marnius Calagar, very popular, 243 tournament entries with an 18.60% win rate, and that's, yeah, not recommended. It's not in the middle ground, it is like in the down section. And the answer is kind of simple. He is a value engine monster. You have so many different variations of cards that synergize with the Esper Space Marine that you can really make a trigger machine that just draws cards forever almost for you with Tataru, Orcish Bowmaster, Smothering Tide, Lofo, etc. I've seen a lot of very weird casual cards people play sometimes because, like, there's this cat that created cat tokens, 1 white mana, that draws an enormous amount of cards with its commander. And the problem is that you're usually filling your entire deck with a lot of value engines, and this gets into the same problem of Talion and Yuriko, that you become this very control deck that never wins. Let's proceed and look at the middle ground, the commanders with a win rate between 19 to 22. Those are fewer. So we have Animar, Inala, Tayem, Gitrog, Thrasius and Tevesh, Vivi, Malcolm Kedis, Magda, Corvold, Kenrith, Etali, and Thrasius Bruce. Animar doesn't have that many games, but he still has a pretty okay win rate, 21.28. Kinda cool. Personal speculation, he gets a little bit left unchecked, but I want to emphasize that the amount of games here isn't that many, so take the win rate with a grain of salt. I forgot to put Atraxa on that list actually when I think about it. So Atraxa Grand Unifier also has a middle ground win rate of 20.19 with 273 tournament entries. And I mean, yeah, she has some things going for her. She has a food chain combo, she has a fastest consult combo. You can play Adnos in her as well. You can play Hullbreaker Horror in her too. So you have a plethora of different ways to go forward. And if you ritual her into play, you have a huge card draw effect. And if you get a Displacer Kitten, then you're rock and rolling. When it comes to Thrasius and Bruce, the amount of games they have are very few, but still they are like up there at 19.86, but take it with a grain of salt. They are okay is the word. Like middle ground is like just, yeah, that's fine. You can take that to a tournament if you want to. You should. They're not recommended areas like, yeah, if you want to win tournaments, I wouldn't go with any one of the not recommended ones. In the okay area, it's like, yeah, it's fine. Etale is super popular. He has, or she has, I actually suddenly don't know if this is a she or he. In any case, it's 340 tournament entries with an average win rate of 20 to 64. This is actually a commander that wins quite well. I have a lot of games where I accidentally... No, it was pure skill. There was no accident, there was no luck, it was pure skill. I just cast Etale and win on turn 2. Don't ask me how. My opponents did not flip into like Twin Flame when I flipped into a dual caster mage. But seriously, the Etale game plan can absolutely win by just resolving a Etale from the command zone. And that's scary. However, Etale dies to... No, it doesn't die to everything, but there's a lot of cards that like shut it down, like Draenite Magistrate, various different counter spells. It doesn't really have any tools to protect her himself, and it doesn't really have any tools to interact with opponents. So for counterspells have been quite key in making sure you win the match in this format, and this Dino doesn't have any of that. It has Red Elemental Blast and Pyroblast, but still, it has a very low amount of potential interaction. I have seen some Italy builds actually play Magus and Blood Moon, but I don't know. I don't think that's great. Then we have Inala that is magically sitting on a perfect 20% win rate with 169 tournament entries. She wins. 1 card win con Spellseeker, 4 mana, 1 blue, 1 black and 2 generic, and you cast Spellseeker and you win the game. That's perfect. That's very cEDH, guys. The problem with it is that you don't really have any like card draw in general when you go into these matches, in my opinion. I think Inala players are gonna disagree, but in my observation, if they get interacted with, they sometimes sit there for a while until they get their hands on Undual Breach or Yawgmoth's Will. It is definitely a strong deck and it can definitely win, but I think it's lacking a lot of aspects that the recommended group has. In some sense, it's kind of similar to Italy. Kenrith still staying strong, 273 tournament entries with a win rate of 21.47. I like him, he's cool, he has some very tricksy stuff. The problem with him is that he's a little bit expensive, and it's very expensive to activate him. Like, you're paying 9 mana to draw your first card. He's basically a combo in the command zone, in my opinion. You get him into play and you start reanimating some of your creatures and you create Kenrith loops. He definitely got worse with the banning of Dockside. He still has some stuff going for him. In general, if you're playing a 5-color deck, you're usually great. And he is like the ultra late game boss, so you can make your 99, your 5-color deck, into a very good turbo Undual Breach concept, and if you get into that super late stage position, then slam your 5 CMC commander and start taking over the match. A little bit of a problem here is that tournament games goes quite fast, so I don't think you usually have the time to like get Kenrith into play and start value monster with him. I didn't put Kess up there on the list because her game count is quite low, but as you can see, for those few games, she's still performing quite okay, but take it with a grain of salt. Korvold, kind of popular, and 91 games is on the lower end of things, but it's still a little bit. 19.75% win rate. Very card draw heavy, very storm heavy, very combo heavy, has a few interaction with black and green like Abrupt Decay and Assassin's Trophy, so you have some stuff. Clark Sakashima, yeah! Very popular, 196 tournament entries with an average win rate of 18.50%. And this is down in the not recommended section. It is very close to the middle ground. I kind of want to talk about him a little bit here because I was uncertain of where to place him. In the end, I think this commander pair goes to the not recommended area. It's a little bit hard to say. I can see, like, there are some situations where you get both commanders into play and you are dominating. This is a very scary commander if left unchecked, but usually it gets interacted with. I think a big problem for it is that it just goes to draw a lot of times, and it goes to time, like it drags out the game for a lot. And in that sense, I am actually going to say I think this is a not recommended commander, but I choose to showcase it here because I'm showing you the numbers, and you think that maybe Clark and Sakashima is in the middle ground, go for that. Magda has become super popular with 631 tournament entries, and she's in the middle ground. She's not doing great, she's not doing bad, she's doing okay. She's winning games here and there. A big problem for her is she's very commander-centric. You kill Magda, you board wipe, and she is dead. You opposition agent. I think she goes into play faster than Draenei Magistrate, so I don't think that's a problem. And she plays around various different stacks cards here and there, so I think she is actually quite okay. Malcolm Kedis, 132 tournament entries and 19.2 tournament average win rate. So yeah, definitely in the middle ground, doing a-okay. Temeshi, Reality Architect, is also doing quite a-okay. 111 tournament entries and a beautiful, perfect 21 average win rate. So yeah, she's doing fine. You can bring her to a tournament and you will win a game here and there. Same thing with Tayam. 269 tournament entries, an average win rate of 21.01. Let's just go with I wish he had a perfect 21 win rate, but it is what it is. You shouldn't desire clean numbers. But yeah, he's doing fine. Like, he seems to be able to win a game here and there. Like, 269 tournament entries is quite a lot. So I think that verdict up there, 21%, is a trusted result. I really like that the Gitrog monster is staying strong. For those that are wondering, I started playing cEDH pretty much around when Gitrog monster was printed. And this is something of actually my give and take first real cEDH deck, you could say. 108 tournament entries and then 19.87. That's kind of funny. That's actually my birth year. So I was born 87. So yeah, that... Wow. I started playing cEDH when Gitrog monster was played and he has the exact win rate of my birth year. There you go. Here we have another. This looks perfect. So you have 200 exact tournament entries and a perfect exact 20% win rate with Tevesh and Thrasius. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Tivit, super popular, 522 tournament entries and an average win rate of 21.72. Now you're gonna say, he should be better. But I think that the problem of 6 mana is quite a lot, and the loss of Mana Crypt and Yule Lotus have hurt him. Then we get to the... I was just about to say the boogeyman of the format. I see a lot of videos out there, is this the new Nadu? And no, it's not. Nadu was a very... I think Nadu had an average win rate of 28%, and this doesn't have that. It's a big difference to Nadu. So Vivi has 168 tournament entries, so it's quite heavily played, and it's doing okay. You have a 20% average win rate, but it's not dominating. It's like, it is not in the recommended area, it's just in the okay middle ground. I think a big problem for Vivi is that Vivi gets killed. People Swords to Plowshare it, Deadly Rollock it, you cause Curiosity, and Vivi goes boom boom. That's it for the middle ground. Time to look at the best, the recommended tier list, the commanders with a win rate of 22 and above. And I think a lot of people are guessing who those are, or can kind of picture it. But some of them might actually come to a surprise. I actually placed Tivit here on this recommended section because I personally think Tivit might be like in the almost good deck area, but I did showcase his win rate already, so we're not gonna go over him. But here is basically the commanders that have a very high win rate right now. And I should actually say, they come in a big variance. We're gonna look at each one of them one by one, so you can make your own opinion which one might be stronger than the other. However, I'm going to say this, and this is something I've said in a lot of the videos before, that player skill matters more than card choices. Something I've actually looked deep into in lots of different videos with various attempts, and I've noticed that it does, when you actually start to look at, let's say, only good players, the win rate between these commanders don't differ that much. So even though you're going to see like, oh, there's a difference of like 2% or maybe 3% between some of these, I would say that that's not really a big difference. For someone to sit down and say, oh, I think Kinnan is a little bit stronger than Cisse, I don't know. They seem to be doing quite equally. So let's begin with Surda, the Dawnwaker, something of a surprise. Now, the game count here is very low. She's not a popular commander, she's a little bit fringe, 61. So I think a big reason why this is winning a lot is because you're just surprising your opponents. This is generating infinite mana with Grim Monolith and Basalt Monolith, and after that you just need an outlet. So this is like Boros Kinnan almost. And yeah, it's taking people by surprise. It's winning now and then. I should mention that there are other commanders on this list that are like in the kind of recommended section, but I want to emphasize that the game count here on Yisan the Wandering Bard is very low. That's why you didn't see his picture in the beginning of this group tier list section, but I'm showcasing him here now. But truly, take that 24.77 win rate with a lot of a grain of salt. Same thing with Idris Maelstrom Wielder, only 22 tournament entries. Now sure, he almost have an amazing 30, he has 29.17% win rate, but like once he gets to 100, I think that's going to decrease a lot. So I don't know if he actually fits into the recommended section. You make up your own mind. He looks promising. It looks like some people are winning with him, so it looks like he can go to a tournament and win at least. But we can't exclude the huge potential luck factor here. Thrasios Yoshimaru is the banned version of Thrasios and Rograk. This is a Cradle Storm deck that definitely deserves its own deck tech video. Looking into individual cards and how they have performed percentage-wise, from 152 tournament entries, it has a win rate of 22.24. So that's looking quite good. Then we get to a very popular commander, Tymna and Thrasios, 1,422 tournament entries. Wow. This commander got a huge boost of players when Dockside, Mana Crypt and Yule Lotus was banned, because they cared about the Mana Crypt, but they were very happy that the Dockside was banned. It started with a very good win rate, but over time it actually started to go down a little bit. You can see there minus 2.42. So at the start of this year, this commander actually had something of a win rate around 25%. But as more games started to accumulate, the win rate started to drop. It is still a very popular commander and it's still in the recommended area, but it could go down more. We will see how it develops. It has also gained a few upgrades in Hazel Brewmaster, and the entire Devoted Druid package have gotten a little bit better. So yeah, there's still a lot of arguments for still playing the TNT. By the way, this used to be the boogeyman of the format. If we would legalize Flash again, this commander would be tier 1 and probably the best commander. And who knows, maybe the only played commander again. Terra Magical Adept. 70 games, average win rate of 26.10. I actually said that I didn't think Terra Magical Adept would be that good. Apparently, I was wrong. Or well, we will see. 70 games. I think we need more to have a true verdict on her, but right now she definitely fits into the recommended section. She's doing better than Vivi, she's doing better than Hashaton, she's doing better than a lot of different commanders. She's basically a 5-color variant to Dihada. And once we have more games, she definitely deserves her own deck tech video of looking into the percentage of how different individual cards have performed inside her. 70 games, too few to do that. I think I want to have like a 200 games with her first. I definitely think this is a commander I would recommend to players bringing to a tournament, because it really looks like she is performing quite good. The win rate on her has actually been going down a little bit. She started on 28% win rate, as you can see, minus 1.90. But I think it's going to settle. If I'm gonna guess right now, I'm gonna just throw out, I think she's gonna land on something like 24%, but we will see. I wanna showcase this 1, 2, 6, so it's 9 games, 30% win rate, but you can't say anything from this. Honestly, I don't think 6 is recommended or in the middle ground. I'm going to go with not recommended. So even if it looks like, yeah, it's doing great, but this is gonna drop a lot once it gets more games, if it gets more games. This is not a popular commander. It's a very cool card, very good inside the 99 of various commanders, so I like it, but don't play this as a commander. Cisse! This is my favorite commander. This is my card of choice. I've always loved Cisse as a character in the lore. I've always loved Toolbox, and I've always loved 5-color identities. I always play 5 colors if I'm playing 60 card decks, and I usually play land archetype, which is the only thing that's missing on her. She has a 820 tournament entries and a 23.23 average win rate. So she's doing quite good. She was hurt by the banning of Dockside, but overall it didn't affect her that much. Actually, I will take that back in an instant. Wow, I forgot that she had this win rate before. Like, oh, wow. So this is when Dockside was legal. She had 1,593 tournament entries, which is a lot compared to 820. She had a win rate of 27.13, and it dropped down to 23.23. So with Dockside, without Dockside, she lost a lot. She's still doing good though. She's not dropped enough. That actually shows you how strong Dockside was too. I mean, look at this. She's still very popular, but I would say that the hardcore CSA players are the ones that stuck around. I'm one of them. And the ones that were basically there for the CSA powerhouse, like CSA was very strong in the old days when Dockside was legal. But yeah, I actually had a discussion with someone once who was the best Dockside commander, who benefited from Dockside the most. And I would usually say that Korvold, Magda were very in love with Dockside, but CSA was the commander that truly loved Dockside. And yeah, I think I have a good showcase of that right now in this video. I remembered it so different. I thought it was around 24, 25, but I forgot that CC actually started to climb super high in the old win rate when Dockside was legal. But still, the verdict is CC is still there, she's doing good, she's not dominating the way she was before, but she still has a lot of tools and she is gaining upgrade. I do think that this is a commander that is going to climb in the win rate because Wizards of the Coast are going to print more legendary stuff, and when they accidentally... Just imagine if they would accidentally print a legendary Dockside. That commander would be good, but CSA, wow. Her win rate would not be a good format when I think about it. Because, yeah, hope that not happens. But you can see my point. There's a lot of different potential commanders Wizards of the Coast could accidentally print that could make CSA into a monster again. Then we have the Rogsai, the most turbo of turbo commander you could ever find together. 823 tournament entries, which is close to identical number to CSA, 24.68 average win rate. So yeah, they're doing great. They have always been doing great. They're always gonna be doing great because this is a very overpowered concept. Like Rog Rack on turn 1, making your Mox Amber into a Mox Ruby is very good. Turning on your Fierce Guardianship and Inflicting Swat and making that Culling the Weak always into a successful option is very strong. Yeah, this commander is not gonna go away unless you, even if you ban Ad Nauseam, which is not going to happen, they are still gonna be very strong. Rowan, Scion of War, 59 games, very low game count, so take the win rate with a grain of salt, but it's sticking around something around 26% win rate. This is a turbo commander. You're resolving your Peer into the Abyss or Adnos at a very low casting cost, and from there you storm off and win in a Rakdos Ghoul good fashion. I think this win rate is going to drop, but it still looks like it's doing fine, and it would be in the recommended verdict with a grain of salt. 840 tournament entries, 23% win rate, 0.20. Rog Thrasius is doing good. This is a very popular new choice. You can see that it has an equal... No, it's played more than Rogsai. And here we can start to speculate which one is stronger. I'm gonna go with... Well, Rogsai has, like, what, 1.20% better win rate. But I think they're kinda equal. They are doing different things. They are kind of fast. This one is actually slower but more grindy, more value engine orientated, more activations of Thrasius, more card draw. And if someone would ask me, like, which one do you think I should play? Rogsai or Rog Thrasius? And I say, I don't care, play which one you enjoy the most. In my opinion, they are kinda equal. A few percentage points here and there aren't enough for a determining factor, in my opinion. They're both in the recommended area. Rocco! This is basically the Naya option. I really hoped Balin the Haymaker would be the Naya option. This is a toolbox. It's not really... It's kind of toolbox. It can toolbox. But in general, it is a turbo commander. I don't inherently know exactly which combo you're currently going for these days. I think you're on Academy Rector and you sack Outlet, basically. And then into Food Chain. It doesn't matter. This is not a video that is going into deep and explaining how this commander wins. It is winning. He has an 170 tournament entries with a win rate of 23.11, so he's doing good. He is the Naya, he's the best Naya commander currently. Then we have a new upcomer. Well, not so new, but 147 tournament entries is not enough. He has an average win rate of 27.19, and he definitely deserves his own deck tech video. I think we need more games with him. Like I said before, I think I want to have 200 tournament entries before I look into individual cards inside him, how they perform, to see like what might be the better Ralmoon Sage deck composition, so to say. But so far, he is doing good. Like, this is definitely a recommended commander that have been proven to win quite a lot in tournaments. And he might truly take the best Izzet commander position. He apparently is better than Vivi, better than Niv Mizzet, and better than any other Izzet commander that I've found. I think his win rate is gonna go down a little bit over time, but I truly think he's going to stay in the recommended area, because 147 tournament entries is a very high number in kinda general. Then we have Narset Enlightened Master. This was actually my second cEDH commander I ever built. I built Gitrog, this is the third. I built Gitrog, then I built Yisan, and then I built Narset because I felt like I wanted to be hated. Oh my god. Oh, this is not something you want to play against. I hate this commander. No, let me rephrase. This is a horrible commander to lose to, because you sit there forever watching it take not infinite turns. That's the problem. It has 50 tournament entries, so it's not huge. It's somewhat played still, not to an extremely high amount, but it apparently seems to be winning when it does its thing. Yeah, when it does its thing, it's just winning. It come into play, attack, and on attack win, which is like this commander I want to say this. I've been watching this commander a lot. I've been playing this commander a lot. I've been playing against this commander a lot, and its performance have gone up and down to an extreme amount. It's been extremely bad, it's been extremely good. So I want to actually say this. Even though it has a very, very high win rate right now, in my experience, watching this commander's win rate go up and down, I don't know if I actually want to recommend this. I think it's a bit of a... It's good when the meta allows it to be good, and it's bad when the meta is board wipe orientated. This is Narset Enlightened Master's win rate when Dockside was legal, and it is a little bit lower. On the other hand, they are both kind of equal. I think that the reason why you're seeing Narset Enlightened Master suddenly gaining a boost in the win rate, because it's never been heavily played in tournaments in general. It was this was actually viewed as the best commander in the entire format in a short, in a actually very long time period. It was like Sur and Narset were the best cEDH commanders ever at a certain point. And Narset thrives in non-interactive games. When no one is like casting a mana drain on Narset, Narset is great. When no one is force of willing your Narset, Narset is great. So I can see like Cavern of Souls being a powerhouse in this commander. Hall of the Bandit Warlord giving it haste from a land is also very good for this commander. Lightning Greaves on this commander is really good. And if everyone is like greedy and non-interactive, because the first time someone counterspells your Narset, you get back to the Stone Age and you have to like take 2 more turns to get her into play. So I think that the metagame allows her to be good right now, but once again, I want to emphasize that I could see a world where suddenly Narset is not that great anymore. But right now, going to a tournament, you're probably going to perform quite well with her. That is not a guarantee that from a year from now, it's gonna be the same thing. That takes us to a newcomer, Lumra Bellow of the Woods, mono green. 162 tournament entries with a win rate of 22.13. I did showcase that Yisan had a higher win rate, but Yisan had fewer games. So there is a chance that Lumra might take the spot of being the best mono green commander. I'm skeptic. I can see why it's winning a lot. It has a cool combo going for it. It is actually not commander centric, because if someone kills Lumra, it goes back to the command zone and then you recast it, because the goal is very similar to Italy. You want to recast Lumra over and over. So far, it looks like, yeah, it's doing good, it's winning a lot, but we will see over time. On the other hand, 162 games are actually quite a lot, so there could be something here to it. When I looked at it, I thought, I don't think this is great, but hey, that's what's great about this video. It's not my personal opinions. You're getting to see the actual true numbers of how this commander have performed inside tournaments, and the truth is, it seems to be winning. Don't ask me how. Or, well, I know how, but don't ask me how it's doing that so often. That takes us to, in my opinion, the best commander in the entire format. And if you want to have like, if you're forcing me to choose a commander, I have to recommend it to someone. You're going up to me and saying, Mons, I just want to know one choice. Just give me one commander, the absolute best commander. I have to go to a tournament and I don't know anything about this format. I want to play something great. I want to have some certainty. What is the best commander? My answer is going to be Tymna and Crom. I want to say cEDH, but Tymna Crom has the highest amount of games and they have a extremely secured win rate. 26.35 is good. We have seen some commanders having better, but those commanders don't have that high amount of tournament entries. Tymna Crom have always been great. They've always showcased great performance, and they don't seem to be falling down. They say to be sticking up there. And they always have the highest amount of, like, whenever I look at each week I basically add more games into my dataset, and they always have the highest amount of games. So even though there are some commanders with like, they have a little bit better win rate, like 1 percentage point here and there, I think Tymna Crom might be the best commander inside the format. On the other hand, I also believe that the difference between like Tymna Crom and cEDH isn't like that big, and if you wanna like hear my like, I still think that most commanders in the recommended area are kinda equal. Then we have Kinnan. This is the second most popular commander, and it has a total tournament entry of 1,544, so to say. Average win rate of 22.42. There is a lot of casual players going into tournaments, playing Kinnan, and perform a little bit worse compared to Kinnan experts. I've actually made a video looking into the tournament win rate for Kinnan when only looking at good players. And what I saw from that was that Kinnan had an exact identical win rate to Tymna Crom and Rogsai and cEDH and Italy. There was a lot of commanders that basically had the exact same plain identical win rate when you looked at only good players. So there is a truth, there is an argument that casual players drag down the win rate for Kinnan. That actually makes a takeaway if a lot of players are playing this one too. I actually think that there's a lot of casual play, or let's just say low experienced players that haven't played that many tournaments, going and playing in Tymna Crom, which was the case. This is still the case too. There's a lot of players who goes to a tournament and their first tournament ever is Tymna Crom. I've actually looked at this in depth, and I can say that a lot of casual players, or well, I shouldn't say casual players, a lot of first-time tournament players play Tymna Kraum, and similar, a lot of first-time tournament players play Kinnan. Kinnan's win rate gets dragged down, while Tymna Kraum's win rate doesn't get dragged down. And when you only look at good players, players that have played 10 or more tournament games, except of just one, suddenly the win rate between these two commanders are equal. The verdict should be that they are equal. But another takeaway is that Tymna Kraum is easier to play compared to a Kinnan deck. You could say that a Kinnan deck is difficult for tournament beginners, and a Tymna Kraum deck is easier for a tournament beginner. Which is also why I kind of want to recommend Tymna Kraum more than Kinnan, potentially. My speculation is that beginning tournament players, like first-time tournament players, picking up a commander, they take Kinnan because it's simple, it looks clean, you just get Kinnan into play and you start activating and you take it from there. That game plan is usually bad. Your game plan should be to get Basalt Monolith or Hullbreaker Horror and then win. When you're activating Kinnan, that's kind of when you're on plan B. But I speculate that tournament beginners are running that as a plan A, which is the reason why the win rate might be lower, so to say. But he's definitely great, he's definitely in the top end section of this tier list. Next one is Kefka Court Mage, New Grixis boss. Roguesai is still probably better than this guy in the end, but he's still doing some good. 153 tournament games, 22.62 average win rate. So yeah, Kefka doing great. Either you ritual out an ad nauseam or you ritual Kefka into play and you start drawing cards, drawing into more rituals, potentially drawing into a tutor or the ad nos itself. Heliod the Radiant Dawn has also been doing some good. Kinda skeptic, but 99 tournament entries and an average win rate of, I'm just gonna go with 24%. We will see if this sticks around. It's quite a decent game count and a pretty good win rate. So he definitely deserves the spot of being in the recommended section, but we will see if that sticks around. I think he's okay. The Hada Binder of Wills, Mardu Boss. This is the Terra Magical Adept, other older variant, older sister, you could say. 155 games, average win rate of 23.52. So yeah, she's still doing good. She's always been doing good. The Hada has always been kinda up there in the recommended area. On the topic of Mardu, we have Kalia. I didn't showcase Kalia among the pictures because the game count is very low. 51 is too few. The win rate is pretty good, 23.01. The problem here is that I think this is coming from one individual player. And those deep into the cEDH format knows who that is. Or well, let's just put it like this. There's a very small group of players playing Kalia off the Vast. And those players know how to play her pretty good. So if a new person would pick up Kalia, I don't think they're gonna perform great. This is like a commander you should play in a cEDH pod outside of a tournament a lot of times before you bring it to a tournament. It's very complicated and strange, so I don't think I want to sit here and recommend her. But still, she's doing great. She has potential, so to say. The last commander we're going to look at is Elsha of the Infinite. 107 tournament entries, 22.72 average win rate. So yeah, she's doing good. She's always kind of been doing okay. She's climbing up and down. Like, she's been in the middle ground. She's climbed up in the recommended area. She's down and up again and all that stuff. In general, she's very meta dependent. If stacks isn't heavily played, she's doing kind of good. She's very commander centric. She's very expensive. So she do struggle in some of those areas. But if you get into play, if she is left unchecked, if you get her to ritual out early, she can take over the game really fast. So she definitely scores some wins here and there because of that fact. And that's it. Those are my... Oh, Isika. I forgot that one. This 5-color commander doesn't have that many tournament entries, but her win rate is quite great, 26.76. She actually has a better win rate than Tymna Kraum. However, the game count is so low that I don't know if this is going to stick around forever. She has had a win rate of 29, 28 when the game count was lower, so it's kind of stabilizing downwards, but for now she's definitely in the recommended spot, but take it with some uncertainty to it. That's it. Finally it. These are the commanders that I think are recommended, give and take, more or less, with some different comments to some of them. I hope you enjoyed this tier list and you got something out of it. We've basically looked at some of the commanders that have been performing really good inside this format, and some commanders with a very low game count that show promise, and some commanders that, yeah, I mean, the format has been trying these commanders for some time now and they aren't doing great. And if someone were to truly ask me once again in front of a table or just on the street, Mons, what commanders would you recommend and what commanders would you not recommend, and how would a tier list look like? And this video is basically that answer. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.